Hey, welcome back to another edition of Avidgolfer Magazine's Drive Time feature. This month we showcase a mid-cycle refresh. It's the 2022 Volvo XC all-wheel drive B6 R design. That's a mouthful, isn't it? But it's a really cool car, got a lot of great features. I want to thank Crest Cars in Frisco and Park Place Volvo in Dallas for the experience. And let's take a long peek at this fine ride. All right, let's look at the exterior of this fine ride. This is what Volvo calls Fusion Red Metallic. It's grown on me. Obviously there's other colors, but this is kind of unique. I like this. Now with the updated version, what they call a refresh and a cycling, usually like a 5-year cycle, they've added some things. This is all gloss black in here, some of the trim. From what I hear, this is heated. The logo is heated in the front to allegedly heat up anything behind it in icy conditions. Haven't seen it in action because it hasn't been cold enough, but read up enough about it. I think it's a handsome ride. It has the Hammer of Thor headlights here, very unique for Volvo, and they are extremely bright, really good. But I think it's a really clean ride in the front. None of this is more for looks than anything that's useful. There's no air vents that come through here. Doesn't really matter. Still looks good, and that's why 90% of people buy cars. And one thing I've known for a long time, and manufacturers are quickly catching up, is the wheels are like the accessory for a car. They're almost like earrings, something like that. Even the painted brake calipers. These are all little subtle differences that when I walk up to a car, they really catch my eye. These are 21 inches, the optional 21-inch rubber, and nice spokes. I like the fact there's chrome and there's black. It's a nice contrast, doesn't show the brake dust. It's a good job by Volvo on that. All right, one thing I like about these newer, sportier SUVs is they're not bloated. Everything is very streamlined. Even the roof rails are low. They're still useful. You can still use them, but they're not sticking up here like this. That looks like a soccer mom car to me. The other thing is, when I was talking about the accessories as far as the rims go, I like this new trim that everybody's starting to use. Could be gloss black here. I think it's a nice accent. If you had a lighter colored car, they'd stand out even further. Good little accents here, little design accents. I like those. But everything fits, everything looks great. When you look at it from afar, it's a really handsome looking ride. And again, kudos to Volvo, because they can be unique and a little quirky in their ways. Some people would call them eccentric, but this works. One thing I read about all the time is prospective buyers love certain aspects of an exterior. It could be the front, could be the sides, could be the rear, but very rarely do they all mesh together. This one does. So the silhouette, it accents back here, and I think it's a nice, clean look. You have a little bit of like a silverish accent there, along with the glossy black, and you have these cool tail lights here. I think Volvo hit a home run. It's anything you want. Sometimes SUVs can look a little funny. This one works all the way around. Okay, one thing about SUVs, as opposed to a two-door sports car, you gotta be able to hold stuff. You gotta be able to pack stuff. You gotta be able to have knickknacks and all this other great stuff. So, how does this XC60 measure up? Pretty good. As you'll be able to see, very fast opening rear hatch. I can get a full set of clubs in with the driver because of the indentation, the cutout on the side. It's a 60-40 split. I can fold down the rear seats, and 17 cubic feet, a little over 17 cubic feet with the rear seats up, about 63 with it down, and as you'll see, also lays completely flat. Okay, so as I put down the rear seats, what's cool about this is the headrests automatically fold down. It's a cool feature, and as you can see, they lay completely flat. That's a lot of room back there, I think. Well, the other thing I like about Volvo is they put in these plastic inserts, so they're easy to clean. They don't get scuffed up too much, and I think that's a good addition. Smart design feature for Volvo. All right, so this interior, when you lay down the rear seats, the 60/40 split rear seats, it's a lot of room, 63 cubic feet. That's pretty generous. Also like the Volvo kind of rubberized mats. I think they're better than carpet, and they're easy to clean, all the good stuff that you'd ever want. The other thing that's cool is the headrests automatically fold down when you fold down the rear seats. It's a good amount of room. And the fact that they lay perfectly flat, another bonus. Good job, Volvo. I, for one, care how the back seat is for my passengers. Even though I don't take them very often. This has a lot of room, a lot of space underneath the seat. Doesn't cramp your toes. Very nice support, but comfy. This is Napa leather, contrast stitching. You have air vents back here. You can heat it up if you want. You have heated seats back here as well. And even with the panoramic roof up here, a lot of room. Lots of room for your head. Everything else is pretty standard. If we put down this rear, you have a little cubby hole here. You have something here, a little storage tray, and then if you need to drink something, put them right in here. Again, all the materials are top notch. It's kind of simplistic, kind of minimalistic, but it looks great too. So Volvo does not go on the cheap on this. Also has Harman Kardon speakers in here, very clear. You have it in surround sound. They sound excellent, as does the Bluetooth. All right, I love the interior of the Volvo line, whether it's the sedans, the SUVs. All the materials are top notch. It just feels great, feels luxurious without looking too crazy. Contrast stitching everywhere. You have the upgraded Harman Kardon stereo system, which is excellent. In the driver's cockpit side, I can do this any number of ways. The steering wheel feels terrific. It's heated, and it's heated. I can actually adjust the heat on the steering wheel. Usually most cars only have one setting. This has 3. Same thing with the heated seats. That's a nice feature. Everything's digital on here. If I put it in drive, usually this would come up. Do it like this. There you go. Gives you a nice little map here. It has a digital speedometer. Also speed limits, which I love, because if you go through small towns and they're changing the speed limits like every 100 feet, this gives you a good idea what's going on. And another great feature of this is an auto stop. Now, one of the things about a hybrid, used to be back in the day, I'm included on this, and that is I hated it because when it would stop the engine for gas conservation. When it would start it up again, it was just cranking up. It just felt weird. People didn't like it. Now it is completely imperceptible. I think that's the right word. And I never know it's on or off, so I don't even turn it off. But it does have auto hold on here, so I can take my foot off the brake while I'm in drive, and it'll lock me in. You don't understand, or you don't appreciate how much pressure you have to put on a brake pedal to keep it in park, keep it stopped. I love that feature. All right, so everything else is very clear. Now this is the 9-inch Sensus infotainment screen. I like it. I can put it on here. I can change the different radio formats. I can put it on Maps, phone, Google Assistant, and works very well. One thing I wish it had, though, it has a volume control button, but if I put on radio,
deep face.
I have to either scroll up or down to find, and when I'm driving, it could be a little iffy. I wish it had a tuning knob as well, but it doesn't, and most people that have Volvos get used to it. We have a guy in the office that has one, co-worker. Seems it's no problem. So there you go. Now, one thing this does have, it has a camera, and if I put this in 360 mode, now I can see where I'm parked. As you get older, it gets a little crazier trying to line up, because you really can't see the front of the hoods on these new cars anymore because of the aerodynamics and so forth. But I can park in a parking space, keep it inside the parking lines, and not get people mad that I'm encroaching on their territory. Nice feature. The other thing this has, it has Google Assistant. So if I say something to Google Assistant, let's have it tell us a joke. Hey Google. Hey Google, tell me a joke.
What do you get when you cross a shoe with a banana? A slipper.
And there you go. But you can also pull up directions. You can pull up any myriad of things. You can actually pull up things on the web because this is 5G based, and you can use that if you deem fit. Other than that, same thing here. If I want to change the temp, I can do that. If I want to change the do this here as well. You can sync with the driver. Very easy to use. And you can recircle the air. You can put the rear on, the max on, all that kind of stuff. It also has a filter, air filter. So if something gets a little noxious in here, or if it's coming through the air vents, it will clean that out. It's good stuff. One thing, I don't know if you saw this, when I open and close this panoramic roof, usually there's a button you got to push or pull or whatever. This is all by slide. Check that out. That's cool. I like that. I haven't really seen that in any other car. Pull it back if I want. I like it. We also have garage door assistance here, so if you want to, you can tie in your garage door opener with these buttons here. That's really cool. I would say the visibility in this is excellent. Very wide rear view mirror, a lot of window space around here, and very rarely do I have to look around and see if there's impending doom. It also has an excellent, when you're in rear, if somebody was coming up behind me, it would alert me toot sweet on if there's a car coming on the side. Love that feature. Some cars aren't so great at that. This one is excellent. Other than that, you have a charging tray right here. I can use that, put my phone in there, automatically charges it up. If I don't want it, I can move this all the way up. It also has cup holders here. It has a decent cubby hole, not awesome, but it's good enough, I would think, for most people. Cubby holes on the sides. Like I said, all in all, this thing, I love it. I mean, it's got, everything just feels solid and looks great without being crazy. Don't have a bunch of, doesn't have a myriad of buttons and confusing controls. Everything works out just fine. Head-up display is clear. Gives me the speed limit as well. Again, driving through small towns, what I tend to do, that tells me exactly where I need to be, and you can raise or lower that depending on your seating position. And like I said earlier, the headlights are very bright, and that's what you want these days. You want to be able to see where you're going, right? I wish every car manufacturer would just standardize and give everybody the best headlights possible. And that's the interior. These seats are to die for. They said Volvo took 7 years to design these seats. I believe it. And these are the Napa leather, very comfy, and they support. But I could drive for miles in this thing without ever getting fatigued. You can see the large vents here. They will heat and cool you in short order. And again, only a few buttons down here. Most of the stuff is going to be on your screen here. So there you go. All right, I liken Volvo to IKEA. Smart looking, sturdy, all that kind of good stuff. One thing that's interesting about this is the gear shift. So if I have this in park, it's one thing. Now normally, if I want to put it in drive, I just push it down once. In this car, I have to push it down twice. And if I want to go 3 times, then I can put it down in manual mode. Has no paddle shifters on this. This is the R design. This is the sporty design of the XC60. So normally, if I want to shift, it's up or down, depending on the model, depending on the car manufacturer. Sometimes go up and it's downshifting and vice versa. This way, I have to go left or right. You get used to it really quick. I got used to it just like that. But the first time I did it, I keep on revving the engine, but I was only in neutral, because you have to click it twice, and then you have to click it twice up to do reverse. Something that's a very quick learning curve, but I thought I'd let you know. All right, let's take the XC60 B6 all-wheel drive R design. Now, the R design is the sportiest of the models, and I will say this: for a 4-cylinder, you have a little hybrid in there, so it adds some horsepower to it. What I like about it, it's peppy. I mean, it makes this car feel really nimble, and it's got more oomph than most people will ever need. If people get kind of lost in the horsepower numbers and the torque numbers, this is 295 and 310. And so let's give this a go. This has the adaptive dampers, air suspension, all 4 wheels. I say this every video. We work in an area that has some of the worst roads I've ever experienced. This soaks it up really nice, even with the 21-inch wheels. It's smooth yet responsive. I put it in sport. You'll feel a little bit of a kick in the RPMs. It'll hold the gears a little bit longer, especially since manual. No paddle shifters here. But I find this a really smooth ride. It's got all the safety features you'd ever want, and very good braking. I just find this a great car. The B5 is not supercharged. The B6 is. Again, has a little more oomph to it. I'd probably get it. I mean, I like, as much as I just railed about horsepower numbers and so forth, I like a happy medium. Don't necessarily need the 8 cylinders. This acts kind of like a 6, and pretty good gas mileage, 21, 27. And again, the adaptive dampers are awesome. And you know what? Not much lean on that turn either. That's good stuff. Really good stuff. The seats are to die for. When you're driving this, you will never ever get fatigued. And it has 2 memory positions in case you switch out drivers a lot. You got people that share one car, but it's nice. It's nice, and it's quiet. Very well insulated. Sound damping on this is excellent. And, got more than enough room to put your stuff. And that's what an SUV is all about. And now they're making SUVs look better. Sometimes you had to, in order to get cargo space, you had to drive something that looked like a refrigerator on wheels. And I remember back in the day, that's what Volvo was considered. A real safe refrigerator on wheels. Now, it still has all the safety features. Again, I have this in the auto hold, so I take my foot off the brake. I love that. Just love it. Especially if you're working in hills somewhere, driving on hills. And the turning radius is really good too. I'll show you what that looks like here in a second. I find everything on here pretty easy to get to. Again, you'll find out over time there'll be buttons and controls in the menu that you'll use more often. And I have a coworker that has one of these, and he got used to it very, very quickly. The steering wheel feels great. It's that really nice, kind of tacky leather that just feels great in your mitts. Everything is right at your fingertips. And like I said, the gear shift is a little interesting because you have to click a couple times to go from park to drive. Same thing from drive to reverse. I got used to that in no time at all. So that's not an issue. When you want to be in manual, you go side to side with your gears rather than up and down. You know what? There's not much not to like about this car. It's pretty much covered it all. I love this feature where you just slide your finger on this like trackpad for your panoramic roof and your sunscreen. Everything just feels great. It's top-notch stuff. Volvo does a heck of a job. They finally made their cars look sexy. The sedans look great. Their SUVs look great. Classy interiors. They have an ivory for an interior that really brightens everything up. But even with all these little accents here, the aluminum, kind of brushed aluminum, that looks great. And it's good stuff. I'll make a U-turn here real quick and we'll be pretty much done. I've taken this on the highway, no problem getting on ramps. And if you want to have a little fun taking a little bit speedier on off ramps, it will do just fine, especially in sport mode. Tightens everything up just a little bit. So when I turn this, and yep, it's only one lane. That's good. You punch it, that V6 engine kicks in, the supercharger kicks in. Again, it's more speed and oomph than you'll need, but it's nice to have it when you want it, isn't it? The dash here, nicely laid out. I have my map here. I can also double it on the census pad, and I love the fact I can see how fast I'm going and what the speed limit is, and it'll blink and it'll tell me if I'm going too fast. The cameras work great. This is a winner, folks. And again, the R design is probably the sweet spot, but you can get the base, and that'll be in the high 40s. This one, base is at 55, and with some very worthy options, comes in at about 63,000. Man, the brakes are good too. Oh, very smooth, not catchy or glitchy. They just stop. They stop it in a very smooth manner, so you're not jostling your passengers. The passengers in the back seat have more than enough room. They have controls. They can heat their own seats. They don't have to worry about the driver doing it. And there you go. That's the 2022 Volvo XC60 B6 all-wheel drive R design. And you can get it at Crest Volvo, or Crest Cars of Crest Volvo of Frisco, and Park Place Volvo in Dallas if you happen to be in this area. That's not a rattle with the car. This is one of our camera tripod things. So as you can see, it's here, it's very quiet, but it's not like dead quiet, meaning there's nothing. This gives you just enough feedback, and you can feel the wheels rolling on the ground, even in these trying road conditions. That air suspension, might not have caught it, the suspension will actually raise and lower, so you can get stuff in the trunk very easily, so you don't have to lift something up. I like this car. I like this car a lot, and I'm not even really an SUV guy, but this one kind of has me smitten. So if you're in the market for an SUV that has some pretty good cargo space, has some nice nimbleness to it, you can park it just about anywhere, especially with that 360 camera, this should be on your short list if you're looking for a ride that will satisfy all those requirements. And there you have it, the mid-cycle refresh of the 2022 Volvo XC60 B6 all-wheel drive R design. This one bases around 55, and this one's nicely pointed at around 63,000. So I want to thank Crest Cars in Frisco and Park Place Volvo in Dallas for the use of the vehicle, and I strongly suggest you give this a ride if you're looking for a nice peppy SUV with a lot of luxury features.